Good morning, good morning, good morning, my muffin friends and family. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're doing awesome. I'm doing pretty good. Man, we got lots of folks popping in and hanging around over on the TikToks. We also got YouTube in both formats, horizontal and vertical. Love to see it, love to see it. Boy, we are going to talk about some interesting stuff today and probably gonna annoy some people, but you know, it is what it is, because I guess I just don't understand it, and it could just be because I'm married. I don't know. It's very distinctly possible that my take on this is just because my disposable income goes somewhere different than other people. I don't know, but we're gonna get into it. This is Muffin to Say. We get here every morning, somewhere between 10 and 11. Little on the later side today. Doesn't really matter. What we do is we hang out, we talk about stuff that's going on. Any stuff. You can put in the comments what you want to talk about. What's bothering you? What makes you happy? We can talk about it all. I don't really care. I'm just here to have some fun and, do some goofy stuff. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Rocking some Opeth today. If you're not familiar with it, well, it's pretty good stuff. It's pretty good stuff if you're a metalhead. They've kind of wandered off the rails a little bit from time to time and get into stuff that maybe isn't quite metal, but that's all right. We still love them, and we have a lot of fun. But, yeah. So the gist of today's video, I want to talk about this weird and interesting, I guess, trend of grown-ass adults buying kids' toys. Like, not new kids' toys, that sort of stuff, but like vintage toys. I don't know. I mean, I've seen this for a long time in the video game sphere, where people will buy older video games, maybe older action figures from the 80s, that sort of stuff. And of course, they've got all kinds of toys that are theoretically just collectibles for adults and all that sort of stuff. And, I'm not saying I don't get it at all, but some of the money that they're charging for these vintage toys and everything, man, I just don't understand. Do adults at this point have so much disposable income that they can afford cell phones and all these streaming services and the ridiculous rents and mortgages that we're paying right now, and then spend thousands of dollars on these vintage stupid toys that basically sit on a shelf and don't provide any value or do anything? I mean, it's very likely that these stupid toys are not going to be worth anything in 5 or 10 years. It's kind of like there are certain cars out there that have value now that, believe it or not, in 10 years they won't have value, and there's a good reason for that as well. Cars from the 30s and 40s just aren't appealing anymore. Right now, cars from the 60s and 50s are hot. But eventually, those cars are also going to go out of fashion and style, and even collectors won't really want them. So believe it or not, there is a cycle for everything, and I think that the cycle of these collectible toys and everything that just sit on shelves, I guess it begs the question, and maybe it's just because I'm poor. I do not have the kind of disposable income to buy these stupid things to have them sit on a shelf. To me, it just makes no sense with all the other life expenses that we have. My only goal every year is to save enough cash to maybe get a vacation so I can create memories. Because for my money, that is way more valuable than some stupid toy that came out in the 80s or 70s or 90s or whenever that's going to sit on a shelf and provide really no value whatsoever. So that's my angle. We're talking about thousands of dollars spent on vintage toys and stuff that sit on a shelf, using that money instead of going on vacation with friends or family and creating memories that actually matter. That's what I'm talking about. Now, maybe these adults with disposable income can afford to spend thousands of dollars on useless stuff that sits on a shelf and still go on vacation. And if that's the case, good for them. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. I do not begrudge anybody who makes money. This is a capitalist society where folks should be able to basically cobble up any dime that ain't nailed down and put it in their pocket. That's the way things are. That's the way it is. It doesn't mean that that's what I love or that's, you know, the kind of person that I am. However, I get it. That's the way it is. You can't fight the system. It is what it is. And I don't hate it. It's pretty easy to make money in this world if we're being totally honest. All you have to do is figure out what people need, and then you can easily sell them what they need. It's not that hard. It really isn't. It really isn't that hard. So I don't have any problems with people getting theirs. But I see a lot of people, maybe not quite my age, but in the previous generation, we're talking about how they can't afford to buy a house and they can't afford to go on vacation and all this stuff. And yet, trending right now is these grown-ass adults buying these vintage toys and everything. Now, I already know that everyone in that generation has like 15 subscriptions to different network services so they can watch crappy TV shows. I know that. I already know these people all have cell phones. Those are $1,500. And I know that they're all struggling and saying they can't afford to buy a house and they live in these, you know, $2,000 a month rent apartments and that sort of stuff. So I know this. They're already telling us they don't have any money. So how do they have money to go out and buy these pointless toys that sit on a shelf? And why are they doing that instead of creating memories by going on vacation, going out with family or friends to restaurants and enjoying some dinners and that sort of stuff? Yeah. Yeah, electric cars, the new toy. That's so true, Michael. That is so true. The electric car thing is the new toy. I love how the preconceived notion is that you buy an electric car, right? What cameras do you use for your live? The quality is crystal clear. Well, by the way, thank you so much for saying hi on TikTok. I use a Sony a6400 or 6500. It is connected to a capture card that goes into my computer. The reason why I'm, so I've been using this camera for years. I'm in a studio where I literally designed everything to look crisp and clear. So that is why it looks so good. But thank you so much, the commentator, for saying hi. I also use a Sennheiser microphone, and I don't remember the nomenclature, but Lego Tech Mike knows exactly which one it is. He could tell you. So yeah, that's why it looks crystal clear. And it's not the only, it's the MKE 600. That's the microphone that I'm using. The lens that's on this Sony a6400 is literally the cheapest kit lens that you can buy. I think I have another one over here I can show you. Oh, hell, I could show you the entire setup, to be honest. I just have to get it in screen here because I have a duplicate of everything. Just in case, because I make a living here on YouTube, so just in case I do have duplicates. This is the lens. What is it? A Miike, what is this thing? I don't even know. It's been so long since I bought this stuff and set up this setup, but it's just a super simple kit lens. And Sony a64 or 6500. That's the actual microphone, duplicated right there. So, yeah. I have doubles of everything just because, well, I have to make the videos, right? So there you go. That's the setup. This one's in a cage because occasionally I do take this on the road and create stuff and don't want my camera getting bashed up. But that is a duplicate of my exact setting. The beautiful thing about the a6400 is that I can broadcast essentially in 4K if I like. So the image that you're seeing is actually scaled down from 4K to 1080, which is another reason why it looks so crystal clear and crisp. And thank you so much for the compliment. I do appreciate it. I worked super hard to get this set up to work properly. So, oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. But maybe you have a comment as to why grown-ass adults are spending big-time money on basically toys, vintage toys or whatever for kids to put them on the shelf, and then complaining that they don't have any money. And they're missing out on what really matters. Now, this could be the boomer in me, the old guy speaking, but memories are all we got, man. That's all we take with us. So all my money, every ounce of disposable income that's not invested in potentially someday actually retiring, I spend on vacation. When my wife and I go on vacation, I don't want to ever worry about, can I have this? Can I buy this? Can I eat this? Can I go there for dinner? Can we go to the museum? Can we go to the aquarium? I never want to worry about it. When we go on vacation, I create memories, period. That's end of story. But over the last 20 years of my life, the one thing that I have, the one thing that comes up in conversations when my wife and I go out to date night on Friday is, remember that time when we took the kids to Disney and we ate at that restaurant and so-and-so this and that? Those are the things you remember. Those are the things that matter, not some stupid trinket that sits on a shelf. I just don't understand it. I think the value system is weird. I also don't get, and I know I'm really off on this one, I don't get the sneaker thing. I don't get it at all. I mean, I know that Nike manufactures these sneakers in Malaysia for like $8, right? and then folks are going into the store, they have to collect every version of whatever sneaker, and they're like $250, $300. I see people spending like $500 on vintage sneakers. I don't get it. I really don't get it. That's a lot of freaking money that most people don't have spent on stuff like that. So how does that create any value? I mean, you look good and your buddies know that you have these sneakers. Man, I'd rather go on a cruise and get stupid freaking hammered with my kids like I did a few months ago and go to an island where I'm totally lost in this little private space. And that's what I want to do. Those are the memories that I'm going to have. And let's see. People seek instant gratification and forget what truly matters. What truly matters is the connections that we make with people and the memories that we create. And I guess that's my argument for why I don't own a lot of crazy collectibles and things like that. Now, I do keep memorabilia, and maybe that has a lot to do with it. A lot of the things that I had or remembered as a kid, well, I kind of still have them, so I don't need to try to go out and collect them. But, I mean, even in my backdrop here, some of this stuff has been around since time began. None of it's collectible, but it's all stuff that I bought over the years. You know, the other reason why this kind of boggles my mind, my parents died during COVID, both of them at the same time, basically, and neither of them died from COVID, by the way. Just other things. My dad had Parkinson's, and my mom, well, after my dad died, we knew it was she just didn't want to be here, so it was just a matter of time. But we had to clean out their house. And the sheer volume of crap that meant something to them, maybe, or maybe not, that was just sitting in a box, doing nothing, taking up space, that we basically tossed in the dumpster, made me really think. And now we just had to do the same thing with my wife's mom. She had to go to a home. She's starting to not be able to like do stuff on her own. And we had to clear out her house. And now half of that junk is sitting in my living room. We don't know what to do with it. It's kind of like we don't really want to throw it out. Somebody could probably use it, but we can't use it. We're actually downsizing everything. We are we are literally taking stuff that we don't use and tossing it because we know that eventually we're going to end up in a home or we're going to end up moving or whatever, and there's just nowhere to take all this crap. So every time we go out to shopping and stuff, because when we go on vacation, we do shop a lot and we don't buy anything, hardly ever, because the conversation is always the same. Man, that's really cool. I like that. You know, that would go perfect in our this or that. But essentially, if it's something that's just going to sit on a table or it doesn't serve any decorative function where you're going to hang it on the wall, kind of like the paintings or whatever, the answer is always no. No, we don't need it. No, because right now I got an air fryer, I got a toaster oven, man, my kitchen is like 4 inches wide practically. So all this stuff's being stored like in my basement and my shed. I got no room for this stuff. So yeah, we just kind of know. The commentator says, I refrain from buying stuff I don't know where I'll put it or place it. Yep. Now don't get me wrong. I have a stupid hobby where I spend stupid money on stupid things that don't have any value. I'm a car person, okay? So I currently have a BMW 733 manual transmission. Thing is gorgeous. It's been sitting out in front of my house for like 8 months. Haven't moved it. I did put a turbo on it. It is fun, really fun, but it needs a little bit of work. And maybe that's the reason why I don't go out there and drive it every day. Then again, I have a 2016 Mustang. That's about 4 months out of inspection, sitting up at the end of the road. Haven't touched that in 6 months. Then I have a car that I'm currently working on, which is a 1984 BMW 633. It's currently in my garage. I put a big giant truck motor in it because I'm sick and tired of paying for parts prices on the original motor. And yeah, so I've got that too. So I do have stupid spendy hobbies, okay? So it's not like I don't get it. However, my stupid spendy hobbies don't sit on a shelf. Like I wrench on those. I get joy and I get the feeling of accomplishment and I get memories from wrenching on those cars and driving those cars. Those cars create an experience for me. So I totally understand it. It's totally different than a toy that you buy off of eBay that you had when you were a kid that you get and you go, wow, that's cool. And you put it on a shelf and you never think of it again. To me, that just, I don't understand it. I don't understand. Now, admittedly, a lot of people that are in the category of folks that are buying this stuff, they're single. They have man caves. They maybe want to decorate their man cave and all that stuff. But I would implore anybody to maybe think about not doing that and instead put that money into an epic vacation. That's what my kid, I think, kind of has the same philosophy as I do because we took him on all kinds of crazy vacations growing up as a kid. So he has done all kinds of crazy vacations. He's single, but he has a friend that he'll go and they do like all inclusives in the tropics. Or he went to Thailand, just up himself, nobody else. Took a backpack, went and toured Thailand, and created absolutely unbelievable memories that he gets to talk about with us all the time when we're together as a family. And I think that has so much more value than a $1,000 toy that sits on a shelf. And so I implore you guys to create memories instead of living in nostalgic toy past. And you'll have a much more fulfilling life. And maybe, just maybe, make some friends that you could share it with. Because that is even better. That is even better. I've been on a couple of vacations or done a lot of traveling where I wasn't with my wife. And almost every single time, I had an absolute blast and I loved every minute of it. Right up to the point where I got home and I'm telling my wife all about it and I'm just thinking, man, she should have been there. It would have been so cool if Monica and I were able to do this stuff. So that's the other thing. Bring along a friend. Bring along somebody who can hang out and enjoy the stuff with you. Because sharing that stuff and enjoying it with somebody else, man, it makes all the difference. It really does. But, yeah. Man, this has been a fun conversation. We got our first interaction with guests on TikTok. YouTube is popping along, doing its thing. I don't know if we have any actual viewers over there, but I'm sure we're doing fine. Let's see. We've got 2 folks hanging out for there for a while. It looks like we're doing all right over on the YouTube side. Very nice. Very nice. I actually released a couple of videos on these channels, and they're popping off a little bit too. So that's pretty exciting. Man, things are looking up all around the world. But I just wanted to give my take on the toy trend and adults buying toys. And I just feel like if we've got so many folks out there complaining about the ability to pay the rent and how much everything costs and all the streaming services and the cost of cell phone, the cost of electricity, the cost of gas, I would prioritize experiences over some nostalgic toy that sits on a shelf. It's just my take, it's my opinion, and I welcome any one of you. Leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Am I totally off track? If you are a collectible of these sorts of, if you are a collector of these sorts of toys, well, let me know what you get out of it down below. Tell me, maybe a story, maybe a memory, something like that. Maybe you can make it make sense for me because I just don't get it. You know, and I want to get it. I'm always open to changing my mind if there's a reason why. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. It's really kind of fun to be able to do these live streams every day, chit-chat, converse. Love to get some more action in here with some folks conversing with me because that makes it a lot more interesting. I want to get somebody on here who changes my mind, or at least makes the attempt. That's what makes this kind of discussion fun. So, well, you can leave it in a comment. We can bring it up later. We can have this fun anytime. Either way, I love you guys. Thank you so much. That's going to be it for Muffin to Say today. But you know what? Come hang out with me tomorrow. It'll be sometime around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, somewhere in that realm. Depends on what time I get out of bed and how I feel in the morning. You know, I'm not young anymore. Sometimes we got to kickstart things, and so that's what we're doing. But I love you guys. Thank you so much. I definitely have the greatest audience on the planet. You guys are the best.